And now we will listen to Associate Professor Dr. Füsun Deniz ÖZDEN. I would like to read her biography. She graduated from Istanbul University Faculty of Letters, Department of Archaeology and Art History, Department of Classical Archaeology in 1983. She graduated from the Turkish Music Theory Department of Istanbul Municipal Conservatory, now Istanbul University State Conservatory, where she continued with her university education. She also attended the opera department. She received her master's degree titled Ancient Greek Music in Anatolia in 1992 and her PhD thesis in the field of radio, TV, cinema in 2000, with her thesis titled Analysis of Surname Humayun Through Semiotics. She was a consultant for documentary film Zeugma. In 2013, he served as the vice president of the Pessinus city of the mother goddess Kibele excavation and then Istanbul Yoros Castle excavation. She worked as a lecturer at Istanbul University Fine Arts Department for 30 years. Ancient Anatolian civilizations, European art, traditional Ottoman arts, Ottoman miniatures, ceramic art, etc. gave her lectures. She also served as the director of famous Turkish portrait painter Feyaman Duran Culture and Art House at Istanbul University. She currently works at Beykoz University, Faculty of Art and Design, Department of Communication and Design. I leave the floor Füsun Deniz ÖZDEN to make her presentation titled A Portrait of Nurse, Kerime Salahor.
Thank you all. I am very happy to be here and thank you arranging this symposium. Lovely greetings to all and the Korea, the Seoul, I think, Seoul. And my presentation about the portrait of nurse, Kerime Salahor. Women are peace-loving and avoided war unless necessary. Throughout history, women's roles in war have been based on serving in the background, such as nursing duties. In peace as in war, goodness and healing were provided through nurses. Florence Nightingale is known for her contributions to the nursing profession and institutionalization of the profession in the Ottoman Empire. Nurses contributed to patient care for Muslim Turkish soldiers, starting from Balkan War in 1912 and during the Gallipoli War and World War I. Among these pioneer women, Kerime Salahor was pictured by Feyaman Duran, who carries a secret Art Nouveau as well as his Impressionist palette. Nazlı Ecevit also made a portrait of Kerime Salahor. Sculptors Yervart Özkan and İhsan Özsoy made the bust of Kerime Salahor. We can also trace the history of Turkish nursing based on Kerime Salahor paintings and busts via Kerime Salahor painting. And this gradually turns into an effect to understand that women do and experience regarding healing and care, not only in Turkey, but also in the rings of the chain of human history, starting from the earliest time of history. In this article, we evaluate portraits of nurse Kerime Salahor, a symbol of women providing care in wartime, and other portraits of her in the context of their place in the history of nursing, gender, and portrait in accordance with Peirce's triadic process, firstness, secondness, and thirdness. Firstness is the image of portrait. The secondness is by comparing other portraits, what is coined during the early Republic period in art of portrait. And thirdness sets up the outcome of the study based on the rules, methods, technical and cultural extent of gender, and historical process of nursing and portraits. The words women and healing have been associated with each other throughout history. In order to understand this relationship, it is necessary to look at the history of nursing profession, which began with the role of women as healers, treating. When the etymology of the word nurse is examined, the first source where it is used for the first time in the sense of sister in Meninski dictionary. Nursing is a profession that helps to protect, to improve the health of the individual, family, and society, and aims to improve recovery and quality of life in case of illness. Women have an important place in the history of nursing. In prehistoric times, in the matriarchal period, there was no gender distinction between men and women. Women were strong. The patriarchal order places women in the second plan. When it comes to nursing, contrary to what happened in the early matriarchal period, it is seen that women have been struggling throughout history. Nursing in the ancient Greek world, in antiquity, religion and myths were decisive in health and patient care. Nurses were directly subordinate to clergy or medical men and provided auxiliary care. For this reason, they could not participate in health protection activities and educational activities. Hygieia, man's health of in ancient Greek. Her father was Asclepios, the god of medicine, and Hygieia took care not only of the sick but also of animals. Agnodice, known as the first midwife in history, Agnodice did not submit to inequality as an inspiring woman in the patriarchal order of Athens in 300 before Christ that restricted women. Because of the law, Agnodice could only study medicine by cutting her hair short and disguising herself as a man, and then changed the law. Nursing in the Middle Ages, there was a system of, though that was heavily influenced by religion, by relationship between the sexes, and reason was often questioned on the basis of religion. For example, in Judaism, man corresponds to reason and women to writing. In Christianity, expulsion of Adam from paradise because of Eve was proposed and accepted by church leaders. On the other hand, in Islam, Mevlana defined woman as the light of God in his Mesnevi, but in his story about the battle between the mind and the ego, he defined the mind as man and woman as spirit and nature. Deaconess, in Roman, Byzantine, and medieval times, nursing started with helping the sick, wounded, and needy, and although it is widely known as a female profession, nurses in history have been mostly male. In the Middle Ages, male nurses were especially responsible for the health of knights and soldiers. The first organized patient care services were provided in monasteries with men called deacon and women called deaconess. And many noble women served the patient or illness people. And Trotula, the Riguero, now known as Trotula de Salerno, is today considered to be the first person in the world to specialize in gynecology and obstetrics. Beginners organization, founded in 1184 by civilian women in Belgium, to care for orphans and the wounded increased over the years. Apart from this organization, women working in the organization called Sisters of Florence, established in Florence, 26 were also very successful in patient care. Nursing in the New Age, with the end of Crusades and collapse of feudalism in Europe, large cities were established, large cities began to develop, and the role of nurses gained importance in hospitals, which increased number in the 18th century. It is known that the need for nursing services increased, especially during the Revolutionary Wars and due to smallpox, which became widespread in French and British colonies. The foundation for nursing to become profession were laid as a result of pressure from high-ranking women of the Victorian era. The most important events of the New Age were the Industrial Revolution, the French Revolution, and the women's rights movement. And in 1837, Fourier called this movement feminism because the first time the woman earned the money. Again, in the 19th century, Stuart Mill argued that gender inequality hindered the thinking abilities of individuals and affected their personality and character is an unhealthy way, which prevented women from leading a virtuous life. Florence Nightingale also benefited from the ideas of Stuart Mill, and we can say that Stuart Mill had an indirect influence of the profession of nursing with his thoughts. Florence Nightingale, who belonged to an elite noble English family, was a versatile woman who grew up the environment of Queen Victoria's era in Great Britain. Queen Victoria's action on the development of women, such as nursing during the long reign, influenced other countries as well. The 1851 World's Fair in London, which contributed to peace relations between countries during the reign of Victoria, is of great importance in the realization of relations between countries through peace rather than war. And it also played a role in the development of relations with the Ottoman Empire. During the Crimean War of 1854 in the Ottoman Empire, British nurses led by Florence Nightingale also came to Selimiye barracks to care for British soldiers. And they mentioned Florence Nightingale's contribution to the nursing profession and institutionalization of the profession in the Ottoman Empire are well known. In Ottoman Empire, although it is known that there were some developments in nursing education before the constitutional monarchy period, it is accepted that nursing education first started during the constitutional monarchy periods. And the Ottoman state's efforts to make nursing a profession, it acted with the idea that Muslim nurses should take care of Muslim Turkish soldiers during the war. And the woman, Kerime Salahor, Münire İsmail Safiye Hüseyin, received 6-month nursing training in courses opened in Bursa and Istanbul. After the course, Muslim Turkish women took care of the sick for the first time during the Balkan War. Portrait of a nurse, Kerime Salahor, was pictured by Feyhaman Duran while living in Büyükada. Apart from Peyhaman Duran, Nazlı Ecevit also painted a portrait of Kerime Salahor. In addition, two busts were made by Oskan Efendi and İhsan Estoy. It is known that portraiture did not find environment for development in the Ottoman Empire, except for a few examples due to the Islamic prohibition on portraiture. These necessities an effort to understand Kerime Salahor's portrait by learning the line of development of the Turkish portrait, as well as the general portrait art behind it. The components in the etymology of the word portrait are por and tre. In painting, drawing, or sculpture, figures depicting the individual characteristic of person, dead or alive, real or imaginary, are called portraits. Brief history of the portrait. The art in the ancient Greek period was considered as an effort to reach perfection when it comes to the art of painting in Roman art, which is the repetition of ancient Greek art, making realistic and good portraits is considered the most important innovation, which are two-dimensional masks placed on the faces of mummies found in Egyptian tombs and their mummies between the 1st and 4th centuries after that, and have an important place as Fayum portrait, figure 1, you see, in the history of art. Early Christian and medieval portraits were not based or likeness due to religious pressure. In the Renaissance period, with the worldization of art in the 15th century, the patronage of art was assumed by the gentry instead of church fathers, unlike in the Middle Ages. During the Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci, in his Mona Lisa, depicts the face of love in the light of revised Neoplatonic theories. We can see Leonardo da Vinci on the face of Mona Lisa, a portrait known not only for the Renaissance, but for all times in almost all cultures. In Baroque portrait, on the other hand, the faces reflected the inner world of the model, realized with the emotional approach instead of the rational attitude of Renaissance portrait. Daumier in the 19th century, the father of caricature, is an indicator of such freedom in his caricatures as in his paintings. Daumier reflected the social political issues of the period, artists and literati and tradition of bourgeois society and the life of the people. The development of photography gave a new direction to the art of painting in the second half of the 19th century. It is clear that photography, which initially assumed the role of painting. A portrait in Turkish painting, the Ottoman Empire, which with a few exceptions followed a completely different path from the European tradition of Western style painting throughout the empire, mostly adopted Islam's prohibition on depiction. Mehmet the Conqueror brought Gentile Bellini to the palace from Venice to paint his portrait, and Costanzo de Ferraro made his medallion. You can see it in the right. After the death of Fatih, we do not encounter Western style portraits for a long time. The Ottoman Empire had a rich miniature art. Abdullah Buhari, the down the corner, the woman in front of the window, painted in 1745, Abdullah Buhari's miniature. It is accepted the first portrait in Ottoman Empire. Like miniatures, which have a linear style, caricature also has an important place in the Ottoman Empire. In addition to their artistic value, caricatures also have historical value in the Ottoman Empire. Yusuf Franco is known for his caricature, and it is depicting the life of Pera, especially the prominent Pasha Levanten of Istanbul. Westernization period, the first 15 years of the 20th century, Turkish artists receive art education in Paris, where modern movements such as Expressionism, Cubism, and Futurism are active. While there were great debates on the forms of artistic expression of the above-mentioned movements, Turkish artists mostly preferred impressionist movements in their works. They are extraordinarily talented and powerful artists were called as 1914 generation painters. One of them, Peyhaman Duran's work are generally influenced by Impressionism, stating in his views on art of painting that was influenced by the painters whose works he had the opportunity to get to know closely in Paris. Peyhaman managed to create a unique style with his own taste and talent. And also, he was also influenced Art Nouveau movement, which was a common style in Europe from the 1890s until World War I. Art Nouveau, shortly, Art Nouveau, because it is important, the Europe and Far East encountered the first time. So it is important. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the Korean example, but Japanese, I know the enemy a little bit, but the European art also influenced Far East art. Also, European art was influenced the Far East art. So it is important during the Art Nouveau was the first phase of the modern movement that advocated historicism and innovation in design. During this period, trade revived and intercultural exchange occurred with the development of transportation facilities and communication technology. And East coming to Paris, coming to Europe, and Japanese art, which maintained its traditional understanding in the field of art, also inspired the artists. Japan was also influenced by the artists of this moment. But Art Nouveau importance is it is the bridge between the old and new style. So the importance for us,
sorry for interrupting. You have 5 minutes left.
Yes, it is finishing.
Yeah.
Peyhaman Duran, the master portrait, Kerime Salahor. Kerime Salahor is important figure for nursing, who belonged to one of the prominent families of Istanbul. He must have been chosen for nursing, like in England, like in Britain, in order to encourage young girls, in order to make the profession prestigious. The daughters of the prominent families of the city were as nurses during the Balkan War. The it was pictured in 1921, and the huge picture, and it was donated by Feyhoman Duran to Istanbul University. Mrs. Kerime in a dark green petrol, blue-colored short-sleeve dresses with a hairstyle with one emphasizing that she was a young woman. In facial features of the portrait, she has applied an order based on her mood and managed to reflect this with eyes looking into the distance and the lips completely closed, almost secretive person who does not want to speak at all. The background, uh, the meta picture is meta painting. The behind picture, behind figure is important. There is an impressionist approach in the pattern of the cloth on the chair. He applied the same attitude in the way of pure is shown. Nazlı Ecevit also painted a Kerime Salahor portrait. I use this picture for comparing the first, second context. It is also pictured the same time in 1921, and also busts, and I skipped the bust history, but it is important fact our culture, the statue was forbidden, totally forbidden, for three because of having three dimension, and İhsan Öztoy made made busts of Kerime Salahor. Yes, we can speak, we can skip. Yes, the İhsan Özsoy styles characterized as having naturalist and neoclassic, but they were educated in Paris, and also they know Rodin, and also show the influence of Rodin. We can see his works. He who brought innovation to the art of sculpture, different from neoclassical understanding. Especially with his wavy hair sculpture, remind us the traces of futurism, because that time the World War I, futurism rising, and nationalism also was rising. Initially focused, anyway, the sculptures, and I want to say Valentin de Saint-Foy, because futurism was very important, and Futurist Manifesto in 1912, the first woman, she published the Futurist Women's Manifesto, wrote in response to the misogynistic ideas in Marinetti's Manifesto of Futurism. So it is very, she is very important woman, and Manifesto, we can skip, she changed her religion and not converted, then her choice be Muslim. Her name was Ruhiya, died age 78, and was buried next to Imam Shafi's. And this is the manifesto. And conclusion, is it okay? I can. conclusion and evolution. This
Yes.
study is reading of portrait in relation to the art environment, art and events of the time in which it was made. The efforts to institutionalize nursing, the role of gender in a profession and the feminist movement, since it is a portrait of a nurse. In short, it is an effort to understand an era behind a portrait, what is seen via semiotics. Fehmarn Duran's portrait and Nazlı Ecevit's portrait have naturalistic features as they are based on similar. For İhsan Ersoy büst, because of influencing by Rodin, different we can see the difference of neoclassic who brought innovation to the art of sculptures, and this we can also the base in the traces of futurism, İhsan Ersoy sculpture, the attitude of Art Nouveau, which reconciles the last sentence, the attitude of Art Nouveau, which reconciles the old and new, and the futurist understanding, which evokes the young republic and the future following a collapsing old empire, have found their reflection in art. Sonrakine geçebiliriz. Thank you. And I also want to write happy 100th anniversary of Republic of Turkey. Thank you for your attention.